Alright, it's time to go to other media. And
Mm-hmm.
this might get a bit lengthy, perhaps, but
I
let's
don't
dive
know.
into it.
First, game. What are some games that you played since our last podcast?
Okay, so we'll do it. Okay, we'll do it that way.
I guess. I don't know.
Games is probably the biggest thing on my end, and except for anime, which I'll get to later. But games, I've platinum Dark Souls 2 since the last time.
You played Pokemon Platinum?
No, platinum as in getting all the trophies
Oh.
to get a platinum trophy for PSN for
Ah.
PS3. 100% platinumed Dark Souls 2 since the last time. I played through God Hand on the stream. I went through Fire Emblem 6 on the stream. Both of those playthroughs are available to watch on YouTube. Um, I did a platinum God of War 1 and God of War 2. Currently working on God of War 3. I haven't beaten the game yet. I hardly played it yet, so I still have to go through that. What else? I got Ultra Street Fighter 4. I've been playing that a little bit. Netcode is horrible in that game. Like, I have a previous iteration of that game, and it has better netcode. So it's like, what the fuck? Um, yeah, but otherwise, I'm having a lot of fun with you, who's one of the newer characters since Super 2010. Let me see. Is there any other games that I've played, really? Um, Not really. I mean, I went back and played through Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1 as well, and just quickly.
Jesus, you've been busy. Quickly? You quickly went through them?
Yeah, they're
That's
short
funny.
games. I mean, I can beat the first Dark Souls in like 4 hours. I mean, I could probably beat Demon Souls in like 5 or 6, maybe 7 at the most. If yeah. So, what about you for games?
Games. Well, let's see. Pokemon Omega Ruby. I played through once. I'm working on my second playthrough on Omega Ruby with a One Piece themed team. And the only thing I got pissed off about was that they, were very, they talked so much about how on the 3DS now how with this, they love to do these updates on games, but the one thing they didn't update that I wanted them to was update Pokemon's X and Y so you can transfer the new content of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire over to X and Y.
Uh,
Like some new items, like the new Mega Stones or the stones you need for Primal Reversion, or even the cosplay Pikachu or the new Rayquaza with a new move. You couldn't transfer those things over because they weren't a part of X and Y, and they never made a patch to add them.
they should definitely do that.
The only ones they did, the only one I could, the only new thing that I was able to transfer was Mega Latios, because as you guys know from the internet, when people hacked into X and Y, they found the Mega Latios and Latios in the data.
Uh,
That's but that um it's like I said before in early in our best of 2014. It was a fantastic game, and not only did it pay homage to the original in every way, but I feel like in every aspect it improved upon it.
hmm,
And I only did probably a fraction of the content, because I just did the main stuff. Like I didn't 100% complete it. Like do every little side story, like the contest side story, or I didn't really dive into the whole secret base thing. I didn't do that. I didn't go around like I didn't really do too much in the battle resort, which is like weird because it's just like every other battle resort. It's just stupid. It's modeled more so after the battle resort of Generation 6.
Oh.
But oddly enough, it has in there a statue for a model, like how like they when engineers when they plan to build something they like make a model of it to.
Yeah.
Well, they had something like that on the island, but for the Battle Frontier.
Oh.
Like almost like they're in the work, like the Battle Frontier is in the work. So it's like makes me even more hopeful for a remake of Emerald, my favorite Pokemon game. I want them to do it, but who know? But who knows what they're going to do this year for the Pokemon game of 2015?
Right.
Or should I say, main series Pokemon game?
Yeah.
And is it going to be a sequel to X and Y? A third game for X and Y that combines the two, like Emerald and Platinum did, or is it going to be another remake, like a remake of the fourth gen? Who knows?
Right.
Because they're not just going to add, like, if they do like a sequel, like they did with Black and White, or it'll have to, they'll have to come up with some more storylines, and they'll probably come out with more Mega Evolutions, because now that's the big thing, is Mega Evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look, a lot of the times when you look at it, I like, the Mega Evolutions is cool and all, but, and it's funny because a lot of people were saying that the main reason why one of the reasons they created Mega Evolutions was to make certain Pokemon more usable and competitive. But when you actually look at a lot of them, not at all, a lot of them actually don't necessarily work as well. Actually, they are better off in competition play without their Mega Evolution than if they with it. Alright, I was just talking about Pokemon. Basically, Omega Summon Up, whatever. Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are great remakes, and I just hope that I'm curious to see what they do this year. I'm hoping that they're gonna do a remake of Emerald, but it's probably not gonna happen. So, and I think one of the major things I think they did really well with this was not just okay, let's do a 3D conversion, put this in a 3D engine, and let's add some more Mega Pokemon and Mega Evolution Pokemon. No, it wasn't just that, and the whole thing with the Primal Legendaries wasn't a gimmick, just a gimmick either. It added lore to the series, not just from that, but the lore of from more lore was added when we did the post game Delta episode, which is surprising for a main series Pokemon game that they actually not only that they added story, improved upon the story, because usually it's just a simple story of a villain group wants to utilizes the power of a legendary or multiple legendaries to perform some evil nefarious plan, and the kid stops it, encounters this team while usually between like the 7th and 8th gym battles, they have their final confrontation with. Oh my God! Hello? Still
Yeah.
there?
You're good.
Uh, for a second there, it said we disconnected, but the plot was just as good as remember it, but with the added lore, makes it even better than it was before. So that, and the only other game I was really playing was Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U,
Okay.
but I didn't really get to play that. I didn't play that until after Christmas because that's when I got the Wii U. It was for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
But just some things I'm looking forward to is less than a month away from the release of Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Can't wait. It's looking to be a very good one, and I hope it is because The last one was eh. So anyway, it was Battle of Z was it was still fun, but this next one looks to be even better. And so I think next we should talk about some of the let's see, what else are we was there any movies you've seen since the last time we talked?
I saw the Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part One. It was good. It was nothing really spectacular. None of those films are, by the way. It was an improvement over the second one, though. I can tell you that much. The second one was
Well, they're probably saving all the good stuff for part two.
yeah, like the second Hunger Games film was kind of meh. I'm looking on the thread if I saw Night at the Museum. Uh, that was actually good. I enjoyed the last Night at the Museum, and yeah, it was pretty good. Robin Williams, one of his last roles, and of course Hobbit, Battle of Five Armies, awesome. I think that's about it.
Yeah, the only movies I've seen was the Penguins of Madagascar spin-off movie, which was it was decently funny. It was a good kids movie, and you know, as a fan of the Penguins, yeah, it's so definitely if you're a fan of either the trilogy, Madagascar trilogy, or you just watch those movies for the Penguins, you enjoy this movie. Um, and the only other movie I saw, the only other movie I saw in theaters was the Third Night at the Museum, and it was an okay movie. But it did pretty well for wrapping up the trilogy,
Yeah.
which was nice. Kind of like he ended with him be because like the whole movie is that the magic is leaving and they have to go to the museum in London to fix it, and
Mhm.
they leave. So then at the end of the movie they fix it and they're like, oh well, his the guy who the Egyptian guy who's the user of the tablet that just they let him stay with his parents in the museum in London, and then this also was kind of about him, Ben Stiller's character moving on from being the night guard and allowing his, that kind of whole thing about, father letting, getting over the fact that his son's growing up and is moving on to bigger and better things.
Mhm.
So, and it was kind of nice, and had a very funny cameo by Hugh Jackman,
You mean Huge Ackman?
which was nice. Surprise. But the only other movie I've seen, like the whole his whole theme was is that the
Oh my gosh.
somewhat villain out, and they go through a theater in London, and it's the play. The actor and Hugh Jackman is one of the actors in the play, and then the guy the museum thing tries to attack Hugh Jackman, and then he tries to scare him off by doing his Wolverine pose,
Mhm.
or as they call it in the movie, his Wolverine thing. Where he like pretends like he's pulling his claws out, but it's not.
Ish.
What's I?
Well, you're talking about Wolverine.
Yeah, the Wolverine pose.
Yeah,
So
that was great.
yeah, and like I said, the only other movie. I think the only other thing I said was that the only other movie that I new movie I saw, because since the last time I rewatched a ton of movies because boredom, was The Other Woman, which I already mentioned in the best of 2014 that it was surprisingly good movie, and that's all I think. Let's see, what are some other topics? I mean, for other media. Oh yeah. Let's see. Since the last time we talked, I posted 2 new chapters to my fic and a movie, my Dragon Soul movie.
Nice. And
So,
I've already reviewed them, as you know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, the movie. You should always read. Try and read my content, but I do apologize in advance. The movie was kind of like one of those ideas that sounded good in your head, but wasn't as good after I wrote it on paper or typed it up. But thankfully, today I have hopefully I've been getting some more writing done, so I'm hopefully should be expecting another chapter out on the 1st of February,
Ooh,
that Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
okay.
So
Very
so
nice.
what about you? How's your fic been since? Have you
Um,
released any more chapters?
I released at least one from Shin. I'm seeing.
You
Okay.
did
I released one chapter of Shin.
the hilarious. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Continue.
One chapter of Shin. At least just one chapter of Zelda. One or two of Iron, and the holiday special of the first Detective Shin
Which was hilarious.
holiday special. That wasn't a crossover.
It, which kind of sort of was.
Yeah,
That what we're talking about.
actually, I
So
released quite a bit of Iron. Um,
yeah.
More than like 4 chapters.
Oh.
Huh. Didn't feel like that many.
So let's see. Is there anything else
Well,
in terms of the media?
in terms of anime, I
Oh,
rewatched Toriko for a while. I'm still rewatching it, but only like a couple episodes a night. Like when I lay down in bed, I just watch like 2 or 3 episodes of Toriko, and then I just fall asleep. Um, but before that, I took a break from Toriko to watch Slam Dunk, and then read the manga afterwards. Because the anime didn't cover the full manga, and then I read like the last 70 or so chapters that covered the end. Slam Dunk was really, really good, I have to say, and it landed itself on my B tier, which is not easy to do, by the way. Um, Slam Dunk started off very
ooh.
rocky because its pacing is awful, awful. Like it can be at times it's worse than One Piece anime.
Oh, that's a bold claim to make.
I'm not joking. I, you know how time works in basketball, right?
Yeah.
There have been times where there have been an episode devoted to 30 seconds
What?
of 40 minutes. 40 minutes in each game. There have been 30 seconds for one episode.
That is insane.
I'm not exaggerating. That is the worst
Why?
thing.
Why?
It was the worst thing about Slam Dunk was the pacing.
For the anime,
Yeah,
right?
even the manga wasn't greatly paced either. The pacing was more or less the same, but I guess the anime did stretch it out a little bit more. But
Of course, that's also, it helps that you were marathoning it.
it does. I
Imagine reading that or reading that manga or watching the anime weekly.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and spending.
Yeah. When I watched, I often skip the opening and the recap in order to sort of um, get as much out of it as possible. I know we disconnected. The
Uh-huh.
only thing I said was I oftentimes I skip the opening and the recap, like went straight to the beginning, just because of how bad the pacing
Bad.
was. I just had to get to the next part.
Well, yeah, but I said, I don't know if you caught this part, but I also was talking about how imagine if you had to watch that anime or read that manga weekly
Oh, I know.
with that pacing
Yeah, that would have been
as it was
awful.
coming out, like spending like 2 months of manga or anime and only like 3 minutes of the game go by.
I know. That was it was awful, but at the very least, that was the worst thing about the anime and manga was the pacing. But the character development was good, though it had issues. Where the main
Mhm.
character, basically the main character starts off where he sucks. He literally does not know a thing about basketball to the point where he thinks it's okay to run with the ball in your hand without dribbling. And the story is really about him learning how to play basketball and developing some sort of, I guess, athletic.
Ability.
No, he actually starts with great athletic ability. It's like an outlet basically, because he's like a punk in the beginning. He's kind of like a guy who gets into a lot of fights. He's like a gang member, and basketball ends up being something of an outlet for him to channel a
Mhm.
lot of his athletic um, ability and instead of fighting all the time. And that's actually true of a
Yeah.
couple people on the team, but his development is insane. But at the same time, there are a few things about him that don't develop as well as they should. Because I'm not spoiling anything because for anybody because it's really something to read. It was really popular in the 90s. Like it was nuts. It had a lot of popularity. I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
in the 90s,
Yeah.
it wasn't DBZ, but it was up there for one of the top rated mangas in Japan. But and it never got an English dub though. But that's the thing. But anyway, Slam Dunk overall ended out very good. Even though the pacing was very much an issue. Um, so I'm glad to have read it. That's number 75 on my list, by the way, of things I've either finished or am caught up with.
Yeah. Well, for me, in terms of anime and manga, I rewatched the Fullbring arc in Bleach, which then motivated me to catch up with the Bleach manga, and which then in turn, and that's pretty much it in terms of anime and manga. Because I mean, for the most part, I've been either rewatching something like Soul Eater I rewatched, and oh yeah, I watched Soul Eater Not,
Ah,
which came out in 2015, which made me want to watch Soul Eater again. And since Soul Eater Not was the anime based off the spin-off series that came out after Soul Eater manga was finished
mm,
back in 2013. Now, what I'm hoping is that Soul Eater Not is popular enough that in 2015 they redo the Soul Eater anime so that way they can do the whole story and it's done correctly.
right.
Just like with because it kind of fell under the Full Metal. The same thing happened to Soul Eater manga or anime that happened to the Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, anime. So that's pretty much about it in terms of anime and manga.
Down here too?
Yep. So that's. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it as well for other media.